What happens when you have the warmest traffic possible? People are going through your funnel, they're enrolling, yet your margins are tight and so is your time. Well, in today's deep dive audit, I'm going to be looking at that specific scenario. My name is Duriel Kim, CEO and founder of Healthpreneur, a New York Times bestselling author, and we help health experts and coaches build 6, 7, and 8-figure coaching businesses. Let's dive in. I think you'll like this. All right, so I'm excited to introduce you guys to Brea, who's not only originally Canadian, but doing some amazing work in this space. Brea, can you introduce yourself to the viewers, the listeners, and let them know who you are, what you're all about, and then we'll dive into how I can best support you.
Yeah, definitely. My name is Brea Gadd. I am a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner and holistic health coach and personal trainer. I run a podcast called The Period Whisperer, and I help women really understand what's going on in their body in perimenopause, get to the root cause so that they can reach peak performance.
Nice. Awesome. Well, we're going to deconstruct your webinar, have a look at what's going on. I want to get a bit of context first. Can you just walk me through the model of how people are even getting there in the first place? And then we can just kind of break down what that looks like. Is that fair?
Absolutely. Yes. So I think the biggest kind of top of funnel for my business is my podcast. That is where about 80% of my clients come from, either from my podcast or guesting on other people's podcasts. And then they come to my podcast. Through the podcast is where I will encourage people to watch the VSL, which is newer for me. I just really launched the VSL version in the beginning of September.
Can I ask you a question on that?
Yeah.
Are they going direct to the VSL or are they going to an opt-in page first?
They are going direct to the VSL.
Okay, because I noticed that from your main website, so I wasn't sure. So, okay, that's good to clarify. So podcast directly to the play button on the VSL pretty much.
Yeah.
And then what?
And then from there, they book a call. Previously, I should say, they just had them go straight to kind of application and then book a call on the VSL.
Cool. And then they speak with you, and then you're offering what? What's the price point?
Yeah. So right now, I am primarily offering one-on-one coaching. I do have a group coaching program, but I got a bit burnt out in the launch of that. So I've gone back to just one-on-one. It is $3,600. For the package that I offer that includes their lab work. So my net on that, do you want to know those numbers? Or?
Sure, yeah. The more the merrier.
About $2,600. And I have about a 45 to 50% success ratio on my calls.
Okay, so when you say success rate, you mean enrollment rate, close rate?
Yeah, so from who I actually get on a call with, there's obviously a little loss. I find not too much, but about 10% that don't show up or that cancel last minute. From that, I will book 45 to 50%. For the last 3 months, it was 45.8 or something.
Well, the show up rate from booking the call to showing up is, you said 10% of people don't show up, so what, 90% show up rate?
In the last 3 months, I had 28 appointments booked and 24 that actually went through. So
okay, I'll just call it 85% plus. Okay, so you got these are very good numbers and they're not surprising because they're all coming from a podcast. Just the big PSA for everyone, your best clients come from podcasts. Period. End of story. Right? The trouble with podcasts is that it just takes a long time to build the sucker. But yeah, that's period, end of story for sure. So that's awesome. 85% show rate, 45% enroll. If we go backwards a step, so from the VSL percentage wise, I guess it might be a little bit tricky to track on this, but percentage of people that land on the page to book a call.
Yeah, it's a challenging one. I can't, because it's a newer VSL, and I can see the views, and I use with Kajabi, so I can see the views, but there's not a lot of click through on it, or I don't know if it's not measuring the conversion, or maybe I'm not looking at it correctly, but I don't really know. What I know is that since launching it, I ask in my calls, and I've had a few people say, well, in your video, when I was watching your video. But again, these are people who've also heard me talk on the podcast quite a bit. So I think it's... Yeah. They're kind of nodding their head already through the video. It's
for sure. So when you say you can see the views or the visits, that's the number of people who land on the page. Do you roughly know what that is?
Yeah, well, it said 880, but I think that can also be people repeat looking at, which is where I get confused. So there's 98 that landed on the thank you page. So that seems a bit more accurate to me.
Thank you page being they booked a call?
Once they filled out their application, it goes to the thank you page. So that means to me that, but again, I don't recall again. I didn't get 98 applications in the last, 2 months. So I'm not.
Yeah, because you said 28 calls and 24 conducted?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to come back to that in a second. So 98 apps.
Yeah.
For, we'll call it 28 calls roughly.
Yeah. But I didn't get 98 apps. So that's where I'm a little, I don't know if, again, this is people revisiting the thank you page. I got 28 applications.
How would they revisit the thank you page? Like, are you sending them through email back to like a pre-call prep page that's the same URL?
Yes.
Is that the same URL?
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. So basically just like mechanically, so when people book a call, they go to like a thanks page, right? And you're going to have like V1, and then you're just going to duplicate the same thing and call this V2. And then from email, you'll send people to V2, because what happens is the more people land on V1, you're starting to get duplicate tracking. And then you're like, where's the drop off? I don't understand this. What's happening? So it's basically like you clone the page and you just call it whatever else you want. So it's a different URL, and that should solve that issue.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay, so I'm not going to consider the 98 apps, because if it's a technical thing, that's pretty straightforward. So if we look at 28 calls, I'm just looking at percentages here. That is roughly, was that 3%?
Yep.
3%. Okay, so that's good to know. Awesome. So what's the vision? Like, where do you want to, so this is kind of like foundation. Walk me through. So we had 28 calls, 24 conducted. So roughly about 12 of them enrolled. Would that be fair to say?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have 12 enrollments, 3,600. So what, like 45-ish grand? Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got, and that's over the space of the last 2 months?
3 months.
3 months. Cool. Good job. How long has the podcast been around?
It was 3 years in April. So that was sort of the beginning of my business. Yeah, this is my 3rd year of podcasting.
That's good. Listen, like, I mean, kudos to you, because like year 3 is usually when most podcasts start getting some traction. I don't know if you found that.
I am starting to see some good growth. Yeah.
But this, like, just so you know, like, I mean, this is, if I look at this just like as a model podcast through this process, you just need more people listening to the podcast.
I have really recognized this year where my people are coming from, and I have started to put more effort into just growing the podcast, bettering the podcast, because I know as that grows, I seem to get continue to get better quality.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, and it doesn't mean that you don't have to have, or like you wouldn't benefit from another channel, but the numbers will change for sure. But this, I mean, there's a big opportunity here to just, then the question is like, how do you grow the podcast, right? Are you on other podcasts and you're just getting them to come back to your podcast? I mean, yeah, just keep doing more of that. Like that's for sure. Like that'll, in the long term, that's what's nice when you have a pipeline, a funnel, whatever you want to call it, that's converting, is you just slap on whatever traffic's first. And then it's like, awesome. Talk to me about the vision. Like, where do you want things to be like a year from now?
Yeah. For a year from now, I would really like to come back to my group coaching options. So yeah. I love working with people one-on-one. I really do. But I do understand that I am capped, and not everyone can afford it. So I have a group coaching program that I did successfully launch a couple of times, but the whole launch hustle process was pretty exhausting, I found. And so I just didn't launch it this fall when I normally would. I had never turned it evergreen. It was always kind of a 2 time of year launch, and it just felt like a lot of work. So I don't know if I just gave up too easily, if I didn't have a proper funnel working for it. Like, I'd really prefer it not to be a cohort. I'd really rather it be evergreen. So some of those things I was just mentally working through and then gearing up to see what to do next. And in the meantime, I was thinking the VSL could kind of, as I get on calls with people, I could divide them that way. But I haven't started doing that yet.
So are you open to like a really simple way to position the one-on-one versus group?
Yes.
Okay. So if you think of like you're on a conversation with someone, so like perfect world, like which one, like if you think of building this business for you first and foremost, right? That's, I think, where we all have to start. Would you rather have more people in the group so you have more like time back in your life?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Because I'm always like, what are we optimizing for? Like if you want to do one-on-one, that's a different conversation. So if we're on a call with someone and it's like, okay, so we have a group. And by the way, I just want everyone to remember that group doesn't mean less better. I think that's a big mindset shift, is like, I think group actually is way better because you have a community and there is power in the collective that I don't think people get in one-on-one. And there's more reliance on you and all that stuff. So if I were you and I'm thinking about, okay, how do I build my business in a way that like I feel good about what I'm offering here? I would actually make your one-on-one the group price. So 3,600, because technically they'll probably go through a similar process. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it's very similar.
Yeah. So it's like whatever. And then the one-on-one with you, just double the price. So we'll call it like $8,000. And so now it's like, well, which one feels right for you? And then they're like, I'll just start with the group. And you're like, great. If someone wants to take you up on the one-on-one, then it's like, awesome.
Yeah. I guess that's true. It's just kind of bonus that way.
Yeah, it's the simplest way to do this because some people want more individual attention or whatever it is, special snowflake-itis, whatever you want to call it. But the group, and I think what a lot of people do improperly is they discount their group. It's like, well, like, we have this group. It's okay if you want to start here. It's like, no, the group is amazing. Or if you want, like how I talk about it is like, cool, so you're here, you want this outcome, which we'll come back to in a second. We have two ways of getting you there. Our main thing is this name of program, which I'm going to be working with you every step of the way, and you're around other amazing women just like you, and it's $3,600. Or some of our clients want, a lot more access to me, in which case we have a one-on-one option, which is $8K for the same period of time. Which one feels like a better fit for you? And they're going to say this one. Great. And it's like, did you want to do Visa, Amex, MasterCard? And they might say, are there like payment options? Then you can give them a payment plan option for the 36, or if it's pay in full, whatever. So that's, I think, the simplest, most elegant way of considering if you're going to do one-on-one, charge more for it 100%, because especially your margin on that is actually 2,600. It's not 36.
Yeah.
Right. So that's even cutting more into like your own effective hourly rates. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
How does that land with you?
Yeah, I think I can feel some of my own discomfort around it, but I pay this kind of stuff for coaching. So it's a funny thing, and I see it, and it makes a lot of sense. I think that sort of my initial resistance is like, well, it's not an exciting group right now because nobody's in it. But I guess that is sort of the point of like launching it first and then kind of continuously evergreening it, or maybe it's the mechanical aspect.
Yeah, well, I guess it depends too, because like what type of flow, like are you getting, like when we look at the number of calls coming in, are they happening consistently, or are they happening in like waves?
Yeah, they are. Well, since I recognized that the podcast is a big driver and started shifting my focus back to growing that, they are happening pretty consistently where I have, 3 to 4 calls a week.
Okay. Because if you're enrolling half of those, that's 2 new clients a week, right? So you've now built a group coaching program. 2 people as a group, right? So when I first started HBA, which is our main coaching program in 2017, I did... it was a 2-day live workshop. We did Toronto, Los Angeles, and Florida. So 3 times a year. And it was a hustle. Like I was running ads like a madman, doing 6 calls a day, which was fine because I had a very ambitious goal very quickly. But it was basically like fill it, shut it down, and then deliver, and then fill it again. And it was basically like a launch model. And that became, as we mentioned, kind of tiring. But the bigger problem was someone's, booking a call. I'm speaking with them. I'm like, cool, the next workshop is in 3.5 months. And they're like, well, do I have to wait that long? And I'm like, kind of. And that's, for me, that was the big shift, moving away from the launch model, was someone's coming to me in pain to help now. I want to get them started now. And so with an evergreen model, the beautiful part, especially when you have that consistent flow, is like, cool, we'll just roll them into the group program. And what happens with that is some people might be a week ahead, 4 weeks ahead, 2 months down the road, and new people come in and they're all part of the same community, right? Now, they're all going to have a curriculum that they follow that's going to be step by step. So if you started 2 weeks ago, you're a little bit further ahead on that. I start today, I'm starting on day 1, but we still go through the same process and we still have access to the same community. And I benefit from, your wisdom from being a couple weeks ahead, et cetera. It's a really cool dynamic and people love it, right? And again, at least here's the other benefit of positioning the one-on-one is it starts to create better boundaries for how clients expect you to show up with them. Right? Because sometimes I've had clients, they're like, my clients have text access to me, 24/7 email. I'm like, that sounds like a nightmare. But if you offer a one-on-one option and you say, listen, like if you want more one-on-one with me, which includes 1 call a week or whatever level of one-on-one you want to have, now they know inside the group, they're not getting that. So they're not expecting that from you. So I think just that setting expectation of like what Brea is going to show up or how you're going to show up for them, I think is really important. And it in no way discounts their results, because the group still will get them the results. But if they want a little bit more of you, they're aware of that on the front end. So does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I get that.
Okay, cool. So we haven't talked about the webinar or the VSL at all yet, but I think I'm always looking at because again, we can address that in a moment, but there's other things in the business that based on what we're talking about here might be a bigger opportunity based on what's currently happening. Because you have a podcast that's generating lead flow, you're paying nothing for, right?
Yeah.
So like these numbers are fine. Like they're 28 calls out of 880 visitors, 3% of them or booking calls, which is, roughly in and around kind of what we look at. So 3 to 5%. Show rate's amazing because it's obviously people who know, like, can trust you, 45% close rate. All of these numbers are great. The only thing I would add to this, into this mix is I would actually have an opt-in page first, and then I'd have people go to the VSL. And the reason for that is because if you get on a big podcast, let's say, or like even yours as it grows, all of those people who don't opt in are not on your email list, right? Or they might be and they're listening to your podcast. But especially from other podcasts, it's like, hey, where can people find out about you? It's like, hey, you can listen to my podcast, which is here on iTunes or Spotify. Or if you want to say how I help clients in your situation, just here's the URL. And the URL is not your main website, but the opt-in page for the VSL.
Okay.
Right. So now you're building that list, and you can, worst case scenario, you get to nurture them over time.
Yeah, that's smart. It's a better capture.
Because you have 800, like if we just look at those 880 visitors, those are 880 people that, let's just assume they're not on your email list, but I'm assuming some of them are. Those are 880 people that are not on your email list that just kind of like disappear. So I think that's a really simple thing. And especially from a podcast, the opt-in rate is going to be very high because they'd already trust you. So that would be a simple thing to put in there.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that. That can be done today. You're right. That's an easy thing.
Okay. So this is the main website. First thing I noticed on this was, and this is what I was asking about the opt-in page, was when I go here, it goes right to the VSL and the ability to schedule a call. So I'm like, that's why I wanted to clarify that.
Okay.
All right. So I'll just close that because that's the same. Okay. So we have a VSL here that is largely text on white background, which is cool. And I'll just play this out for a second.
Because you're a woman in the magical age box of 35 to 55 who wants to feel better in your body than you do. But everything you used to do.
Okay. So when I saw that, I was like, got it. But then I'm like, period whisperer. How do those two go together? So I don't know, again, I don't know the context of like all of your podcasts and what the message is.
Yeah.
But talk to me about, so 35 to 55, sorry, it was 35 to whatever, 50-ish. What's the specific problem that we're solving and for whom?
Their hormones are changing.
Okay.
Messages from our body. That's where the period whisperer kind of comes in. I think women, don't understand what that means. They're feeling stuck in that process. So it's helping them understand it, fix the root cause, which is usually not the hormones or the perimenopause, and be able to lose weight, sleep better, have more energy, think more clearly, have a libido.
Okay. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to attack this like I would if we're driving cold traffic.
Do it.
Because what I think is awesome about organic, like podcasts, is that you can get away with having messaging that is like, okay.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, your numbers show that. But I think, and this is kind of like very similar to what I see with practitioners who have a successful brick and mortar, just because people know they exist. They walk down the street, they're like, oh, there's a clinic. But online, as soon as you proactively have to market, then you're thrown into the lion's den. So if I were looking at this, because again, as you know, like a lot of our clients are running like ads on Meta into this type of funnel. So the first thing that we want to look at is on the opt-in page. Like when I look at messaging,
5 who wants to feel better in your body than you do.
All right. So this type of messaging, if this were on a landing page from cold traffic, is usually going to have a very low conversion, right? Because it's very general. It's like, what does that exactly mean, right? Now I've had the luxury of listening to you for 10 hours on a podcast, whatever. But when we have, and that's what I was saying with the period whisper, my first thought was you help women with like bad periods or no periods or something like that. That was my initial kind of first impression. But I'm assuming it's more than that?
It's more than that. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's, I don't know. I mean, I'll leave it as it is.
It is a little deceiving. And I have thought about that in the last little bit.
Yeah, because it's like if like with Healthpreneur, it's like if I worked with real estate agents, I'm like, it's a little bit, I don't know. It's not that misleading, but it's just a little bit of a throw off there. So one thing I do like about this VSL, and just so you guys know, VSL is video sales letter. Whether we call it a webinar or VSL, it's tomatoes. And just so everyone's clear, when I talk about webinars, I'm not talking about live webinars, which are for the most part a complete waste of time because show-up rates are horrible unless people pay for them. So here it's opt-in page. Ideally, they opt in, name and email. They land on this page. So the video plays right away. It's not like Thursday at 4:00. Just so that we're all on the same page there. So some people call it a VSL, we call it a webinar, masterclass, whatever. What I love about this is that it's all about the message. Like you're not on the screen, you're not on video, and it's white backgrounds, very clear text. So that's a huge plus because a lot of people get this wrong is they want to go on video and they start talking And now the message is secondary. People start looking at you in your background and making judgments and all, but they're not focused on the message. So I think it's a really good thing. And this is exactly what we do with our clients. Like white background, ugly slides, just focus on the message. So good job on that.
But everything you used to do to feel better isn't working. You've probably been dismissed by your healthcare practitioner. You have tried several diet plans, health plans, workout programs, and hormone advice from social media. And not only is nothing working, but your life is already so busy with kids, work, and life responsibilities that you are exhausted. And that means you wake up each day feeling just as bad or worse than the day before. And you're likely feeling burned out and hopeless. And now you're not sure how to turn this around for yourself. Perhaps you've had hormone testing from your doctor and have been told that everything is normal. Or maybe you're so busy that
Okay, so this is good. You're kind of tapping into the frustrations, the symptoms, etc. Again, I still think it's a little vague. And again, that comes back to, feeling better in your body again, right? So like you're on the right path and like just structure-wise, it's good. Like you're empathizing, here's what you're going through, I understand, you've tried this stuff, it hasn't worked. It becomes more powerful when it can, I like to think of it as moments more than the market. So like what is a specific moment, like you mentioned there, like you have a tough time getting out of bed in the morning where you feel exhausted. Like those are moments as opposed to what some people might say is like you feel tired all the time. Like saying like you feel tired all the time is okay. What's more powerful is you roll over in the morning and slap your alarm clock and crawl back under the blankets, or you fall asleep at your desk after lunch. Like something you can see in your mind.
I got that.
All right, so I want to just go into this.
and finally get restorative sleep without extreme dieting, hours of punishing workouts, or being dismissed in another doctor's office when you know something isn't right. And if you stay until the end, I'll show you how to get your personalized health debt reset roadmap based.
Okay, interesting to plant the seed for sticking around. You could even use that way earlier on in the, again, there's like, where it's not a big deal, but I like that we're planting the seed for something of like, well, what is this thing? If I stick around, cool, awesome. So that's okay.
Based on functional lab testing, so you can start seeing results in weeks, not months. I'm Brea, functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, certified personal trainer, and host of the Period Whisperer podcast, a top 1% wellness show for women. I'm the hormone expert for one of the fastest growing fitness companies in the world called V-Shred, and have been featured in Women's Health and on Fox News. And I share this with you just so that you know you are in good hands. I've spent over 15 years helping women transform their health. But when I hit my late 30s, despite tracking calories, working out 6 days a week, and doing everything right, I started gaining weight, waking up drenched in sweat, and feeling exhausted all the time.
Okay, so this is good. So now we're getting into your story, credibility. One thing you can consider that I think can be helpful for, especially with the VSL, is right away early on is you're a woman in your magical age box 35 to 55. You're here because you want to feel better in your body again. Like you're going to you start with that. And then within about 30 seconds, I would really quickly remind people or let them know why they should listen to you. Because we're 6 minutes in and now I'm being introduced to Brea. Because what it does, and it's a small nuance, because the messenger matters a lot. Like you could have the same message, but it lands differently based on how people perceive you. So if you start off in the first 30 seconds, like if you've seen any of my videos, like on YouTube specifically, it's like in the first 30 seconds after I do the quick little, like, here's what this is about and how you're going to benefit. My name is Uriel King. I'm a New York Times bestselling author, CEO of Healthpreneur. For the past 20 years, I've been helping health experts just like you build 6, 7, and 8-figure coaching businesses without the grind. Now let's get into the stuff. So really quickly, I planted the seed for like what's about to follow is from someone who actually like knows their shit. And in this case, you can do something very similar, but then at this 6 minute mark, then you can come back into your story.
Okay.
Right? So the story is very important.
Credibility. Okay.
Yeah. Super short. Cause again, we're not going to go in the first 30 seconds going on for a couple minutes about your story. You have to make it all about them and also let them know why they should listen to you.
Okay.
And then what you're sharing here is awesome. You keep the story as it is.
Okay.
So we got some testimonial action, which is always good. So social proof.
These results aren't luck. They happen when you follow the right order with a personalized plan to get out of health debt. I want to give you a fast track here. If you're a woman who's already tried everything and nothing has worked, or you've been told by your doctor that you're fine when you don't feel fine, or you don't have any more time to waste achieving the goals, dreams, health, and body that you want, then right now you can go ahead and book a free health debt reset call below this video. There's a button right there.
So early call to action, that's fine. It's all good. Did I miss the part where you talk about, you called it, what would you call it? Health debt? Was that the real problem?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Health debt is the real problem.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, how did you build this? Like, what did you use as a model for the VSL or the script?
I used some of yours.
Cool.
And then I built my own script.
Yeah, I would hope so, right? Like, hey, if you're looking to get more clients, like what?
It's a good one.
Fine. So I'll just mention one more thing here on the health debt thing. So for everyone watching and listening, what you do really well here is you introduce a real problem. You haven't achieved these things. This is the reason why. It's called this health debt, very much like financial debt, which you get into in the VSL. It's da, 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 da. And unless you fix this, nothing else you do is going to make sense. So that's really important. Because the one thing with that is that people have to know, they're always looking for, like, why is this new? I've not heard, if I've heard something before, I tune out. If it sounds like something I've done before, I'm gone. So it's really important to have this kind of novelty, because novelty equals hope. And that's what marketing has to give people. So it's good that you have that. And the only part that I kind of got a little bit lost in here was a couple minutes here, you start going into like a lot of like physiology talk. Like, it's not super deep, but it's like, I'm just kind of like, listen, I've been in this space for forever, but I kind of got lost a little bit in the nuances and the details. There's just a bunch of stuff here, right? So counting calories, progesterone, generic supplements, anyways. So, but for the most part, again, overall solid. I like the fact that visually it's very clear. That's very, very important. You have a big or a real problem, and then you support it throughout. And then I think the name of the call, the health debt reset call, lands well. So all that's good. Again, like if we wanted to like just, go crazy on this, we could, but I think it's fine. And it's obviously doing a good job. Two things I was a little bit confused on this page. So one is everyone sees like they can scroll, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I would just give people the opportunity to speed it up. So instead of going full play mode here, I would remove this full, because now they can expand the screen and lose the application below. I would replace this with like the speed so that they can go to 2x if they want.
Okay.
Because if they can scroll, they might as well be able to watch it faster. Also, even if they couldn't scroll, they have the application and call to action right away underneath. So if you have this, you might as well give people the opportunity to watch it faster, as opposed to if it was only showing at a certain point in the video.
Right.
So that's cool. And then the final thing here is I was a little bit confused here because if I go through the application, wouldn't the application lead to the calendar as opposed to then, is it two separate things people have to do?
No, well, I like to kind of review and approve them. So but that's how I have said it right now, is that they kind of get an email that, once I've had a chance to look at them, then they get an email pretty much the next day that says, here's your calendar booking link. Okay.
So what if I go through this or I don't fill this out and then I click on this?
It takes you to the thank you page.
So this could be another reason why a lot of people are hitting the thank you page.
Right. I guess you're right.
I didn't even book a call and I was able to land on the thank you page. So that might just be like a technical little thing, but ideally, this would be application. You can set up if then to be like, if they're qualified, they go to the calendar. If they're not, it's like, hey, sorry, it doesn't look like we're a good fit. In the meantime, check out some other stuff. I would just kind of clean that up a little bit because I was a little bit confused by these two different things there.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, overall, again, you're allowed to get away with a lot of this because you have the warmest quality of traffic from the podcast. I'm just kind of looking at this as if the coldest, most skeptical people are looking at this. And if some of those adjustments are made, everything else, helps a lot as well. So.
Yeah. And just to validate or to clarify what you were saying around the kind of maybe too technical information, in that you think I should quiet that down a little bit in some of the more science aspect, or simplify it?
Yeah, I think I'm always thinking of how can we talk to a 10-year-old, right? So if you run this by a 10-year-old, could they understand this? And I like to use a lot of metaphors and analogies. It depends on who we're talking to as well, right? But I just kind of found myself lost a little bit there. So try to maybe take it up a notch with a higher level so it's conceptually easier to understand. And I think maybe part of that happens because it is pretty broad on the front end, right? It's not that specific. If you don't have periods, this is for you, that very specific problem. And I think that can lend itself to some of the other stuff that we saw there. So for you as like next step, what's like the 1 or 2 big takeaways?
I mean, I think certainly like revisiting my group coaching and one-on-one program, and then starting to just split those offers that way, and continuing to grow the podcast. And then I think some of these key changes, I think I'll re-record and get more specific in that VSL at the very front, and see what I can work on the other parts. That was awesome. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Well, thank you for opening up the kimono and sharing your awesomeness. For all of you guys watching and listening, hopefully this is helpful. I will see you later. And if you like this kind of stuff, be sure to watch the next video where I'll walk you through our $1 million health coaching roadmap. If you're a health expert, coach, or therapist who wants to grow a $1 million plus business without the grind or guesswork, you're going to want to check that out. We have a free scorecard where you can audit your business, and then I'll show you exactly how to fill the gaps to improve your score and thus the impact you're creating, the money you're making, and the freedom you're living with.